Hey guys, what's up? What is up? Welcome to Ascending Tech, where we dive deep into projects shaping the cryptocurrency space. I'm the Ascending Man, Nate McGettit, and today we're talking about something that I think are some of probably the top projects in all of Pulsechain Network. CoachX, or this alien thing over here, has helped create some of the most complex webs of forever up tokenomimetry. I can that's the new word, by the way, I'm creating, because I don't know what else to say about these things, these projects, other than just like, wow. So, yeah, stay tuned because this is a project you can't afford to miss. But before we jump in, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. And hey, if you find value, don't forget to share this with your fellow crypto enthusiasts. It helps a lot more than you know. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk to the alien, the gray over here. Coach X, what is up? Who are you? For anybody who's been underneath a rock and has no idea who you are. And then what is UFO and pTGC?
Well, I thought it would just be easier to talk to you like like this, but I just wanted to do that.
just a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm Coach X. Been like a part of the PGC and UFO kind of ecosystem movement from the beginning. Kind of like some people like to call me as just like the alien that kind of brought into the idea of the different kind of things when it comes to like the web and like especially what Atropa and being the first kind of like in the insides of like PDI and Atropa and all that kind of stuff and understanding what's going on and actually when everything came together when PGC it was like kind of like first launch uh, just knowing the mechanisms and the powers of what could be ultimately what is now over a year old, and it's been a journey, but it kind of showcases to the world like what does it take to actually bring a project to life. Understanding Richard Hart's just like over time of Hart's law and understanding liquidity pairs and understanding V2 and V1 and just uh, collecting a organic community together and having an ideal standpoint of what actually could be possible in crypto. And it's been a great um, last year, actually a year and a half, I would say.
Yeah, the thing about pTGC that is just absolutely incredible is it's literally just forever up. It's always walking up. So even when things are like dropping, you'll get your drops here and there. However, I don't think there's been a single model that is better for like buy and burns and just watching how that floor is always going up. And so with that being said, how sustainable is the hyperdeflationary mechanism of pTGC in the long run?
Well, if you really think about that in the times that we've been, we experienced pulse chain moving down 80%. And we moved basically accordingly towards that level of pulse chain this whole time and have outperformed it many X's. So it brings into the speculation aspect, but also the supply aspect. It's always going down, it's never going up. So if you have to take that in to account and consideration, and right now there is about five smart contracts that actually buy and burn. That is not just PGC buying and burning itself. So like UFO, for instance, 1% of every single buy and sell of UFO buys and burns PGC. So if I look at the last 7 days of UFO and just the Pulse pair by itself, there was $2.1 million of volume that bought and burned PGC. So 1% of 2 million is $20,000. So UFO has brought a surplus to the mechanism of the buy and burns. And between the liquidity pools between UFO and pTGC, it's just like a stepping stool of liquidity pools, especially connected with RH tickers. Like that's the thing. So when people think about like the crypto market as a whole, it's like, oh, there's Bitcoin. Whenever Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum's more likely going up because of the liquidity pools tied in between them. The same kind of correlation as Richard Hart wanted to go up with the market with Ethereum, and then at the top of when Hex was at the top, change that antidote of liquidity into USDC. So he wouldn't be as correlated with the market, the overall market as a whole. So you can do different things of these liquidity pools. But the cool thing about pTGC, we grab Pulsechain, Pulsex, pHex, eHex, Ink, pDai, Teddy Bear, Atropa, down, like all these probably going to go up with the market, because if pDai goes to $1, everybody's speculating on that. And you can ask me questions about that, but that's another rabbit hole. But it's just like,
that's very deep, man. That is a very deep rabbit hole.
but like, it's the people just don't understand the like Pulse and Pulsex is also helping pTGC move up. At the same time, the speculators are still like coming into the token, of course, because there's only so many pTGC available to the open market because of the supply, or there's the supply and demand issue. Not issue, but supply and demand issue is actually good, because the more the person wants of something, the more the price chart will go up. Especially if you have, let me do the number, I'll bring it up. Give me a second. I had it with me.
Yeah, and if there's anything that you want to bring up on screen, go ahead, just let me know about that, because we can go ahead and pop that on for you.
Okay, yeah. Well, like, think about it this way. So we have like 25% of people holding pTGC is stake, 25%. And then 41% is locking and staking. So add 41 to 25. So what's that math? Sorry, I'm a math guy, but I just don't know how to do the math. 41 plus 25 equals. So 66% of the supply is staked or locked.
That's really good, actually, because if it's staked out there, guys, basically what that means is nobody's going to sell, so that takes away selling pressure, aka whatever the buy and burn is doing is just going to continue to go up rather than just dropping right away.
Yeah, exactly.
And you said 66%. That's quite a bit. Well, how about this then? So
and then 11% of it is burnt. 11%. Bye-bye. So it's so that's 77% like gone or staked or burnt.
Yeah, that's 77% of selling pressure, I would say, is not there, which is actually kind of insane when you stop and think about that. But so, all right then, could the reduction in token supply then lead to like liquidity issues or discourage new participants because prices are rising?
That's going to be up to the open market, because at the end of the day, the user is going to look at them. The green candles are going to be, do I want to be a part of this movement and ecosystem, or I just want to watch it from the sidelines and just cope? There's two different things you can do.
Yeah. One of the things that I was kind of looking at actually is one of the biggest issues in crypto just in general is the bear market, right? When everything drops. And so what I was kind of looking at with this particular, not only liquidity web that you have along with Atropa, you're all tied in there, right? But then also because 77% of sell pressure is not really there. Now, is it guaranteed to be all the way through the bear? No, maybe some people will emergency on stake type of thing. And I believe that there's extremely heavy.
Yeah, there's a 30% fee if you're emergency unlocking. So
yeah. Yep. And so, that's going to discourage people from wanting to actually unstake, right? However, I think the majority of people, along with that buy and burn, especially as we get, further into the bull here when things start really amping up, I do believe that even though everything does drop during the bear, this is going to be one of those projects that you're going to want to get into to actually help protect yourself from that massive drop. Because I don't think pTGC is really going to drop that hard, just in all honesty.
Well, like you got to think in a bear market, it's connected to P hex, it's connected to E hex, it's connected to ink. So that relationship of the LPs are going to be drawing down pTGC. So, but it's the believers and the users of the ecosystem establishing that passive income stream that you can be a part of. And then imagine the amount of volume that is just paying out rewards. When it's just like if Pulsechain does 100x from here and Pulsechain has a 80% drop from the top of its first market cycle or first market cycle, and it moves in downwards in the bear market, 80%, pTGC will most likely or not end up about 80%, just because of the relationship with Pulsechain, Pulsex, Ink, everything. But does it mean the price actions in terms of the pulse to pTGC ratio can change? Maybe not, because if you look at the chart, everything is just going like this in terms of the pTGC and pulse ratio.
Well, that's interesting. So when you're talking about the ratio itself, the idea that you're saying here is that Pulse will actually drop harder than pTGC will, and it's basically you're always going to be kind of going up versus Pulse.
Yeah, like I can probably bring up my screen. Hold on, let me just make it real quick. Okay, let me share my screen, present. All right, you good?
There we are.
Yeah, so like if we look at the relationship to Pulsechain, what a beautiful chart. You know what I mean?
Man,
like
that's crazy, dude.
Have you ever seen a chart like this in your life?
UFO.
Besides, or UFO, yeah. Or Apple. It's like Apple or freaking Microsoft. It's like the S&P 500. Look at that. I'm just not financial advice, guys. But if you see it down here, okay. So if we had to look at it in terms of, okay, so this is where we met, or this was Vegas. Okay, so this is the all-time high of Pulsechain. This is the all-time high of pTGC as well, right here. So, and Pulsechain didn't start moving up until like August. So during this time, it's been just going sideways against Pulsechain, but it's outperforming it.
That's interesting because Pulsechain went down during that time, went down quite a bit during that time. And yet for pTGC, it just literally keeps going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
So it went down 41% against Pulse, and then went up 74%. And then it fell down 26%. And then it went back up 40%. So it's like,
yeah.
So it's just like, it's like a heartbeat, you know what I mean? In terms of like what's like actually going on. And the buy and burns and the LP adds to the V1 liquidity pools are there every second, every minute, every breath that I'm taking. There's something going on.
So, all right, what causes that then? Because as we know, Pulse just ended up going down, right? Whereas yours, it keeps spiking like that. What causes the spikes?
It could be the speculators coming in, new buyers. It could be the DAO coming in with liquidity ads and buy and burns. And it can just be from pTGC buying and burning itself. It could be 808 buying pTGC. It could be the liquidity pools and the V2 pairs just building up because they're compounding in those. And everybody doesn't understand that as well. So all the volume that's going in and out of there is just building up. So, and the like in terms of the PDI, that liquidity pool, half of it's burnt. Teddy Bear I think over half of it's burnt. Atropa, same thing. So it's just like we're already built into a lot of systems that has like very, very silly potential that's going to bring a lot of volume from for the R bots to come in and fix all the prices. And they get to pay 5% in and 5% out in terms of pTGC.
Man, that's so okay. So the liquidity web and the auto LP mechanisms are quite intriguing to be to be frank. So can you explain how these mechanisms interact with arbitrage bots and what benefits they present to the ecosystem?
So like whenever there's an action, there's always a reaction somewhere in life. It doesn't matter if it's inside of crypto or outside of cryptos. But like in terms of when I was studying PDI and Atropa, whenever there was a buy of PDI, there was a buy or sell of Atropa in the back end. So when there's an action, there was a reaction happening. So in terms of pTGC, I understood that, and that brought into the conversation of the kind of like the layout of the webs. It's like if there's going to be an action in the pulse pair, okay, with a bot or a person coming into the pool, there's going to have to be a reaction into the pulse or the Pulsechain pool to pTGC. If it's a small buy or sell or something, but they're always paying 5% tax. So now instead of just one door and one avenue, what usually people do on Ethereum. So when people talk about tax tokens on any other blockchain, nobody's done this. We are the first one. pTGCs and UFO are the big dogs when it comes to tax tokens in general. There's going to be a lot of tax
from other tax tokens then, because I know that tax token is kind of a dirty word in crypto.
Yeah, but like you have to think about it in this sense too. So like I'll give you an example, like Colt. Okay. Colt went to a $255 million market cap or something like that on last cycle of on Ethereum. But this is the thing. They only had one door and one avenue going in and out of that trading pair. They didn't have, I think we have over like 60 liquidity pools that people maybe just like bought into, or we've made them existed. And I think 95% of the liquidity is dead or protocol owned. So it's like the means of like rugging or anything like that, it's already in the liquidity pools. It's already there. It can never be taken out. So like on Ethereum, that's what, and like another thing about Cold DAO that I think they did wrong in a sense was they put their funds to other projects. They put their ETH for buying into other projects. They didn't really, so like with our DAO, all our funds have been going to buy and burns and LP ads and more and gathering. So that's establishing the floor of the ecosystem that brings more volume. And the higher we go up, the higher the volume goes through our liquidity pools one way or another. And we're going to be a part of the ecosystem. So, and like, if you look at the volume, majority of like 70 to 80% of the volume is arbitrage bots. It's not even humans. So it's just like there's so many moving pieces, but once you actually understand the whole measures of like what's the power of liquidity and Hart's law, like Richard Hart taught us all of this. like taught every single measure when it comes to Hart's law. And pTGC and UFO is like, oh, they're right.
I love it, man. So one of the things that I have heard, I guess you could call it maybe a little bit of fun about the idea of liquidity webs, right? Is that liquidity webs aren't really all that important because enable for, say, a router to swap from one coin to another, it's going to go through the biggest pools. And so therefore, if you start creating smaller pools elsewhere, it doesn't matter when you go to swap because they're never going to go through those pools. So they ultimately just become dead pools at that point. For someone who is saying like that's why these liquidity webs don't work, what do you got to say to them about that?
Look at my hockey sticks.
That's pretty straightforward. Oh man.
Win dip.
Right.
So, like this is the crazy. So somebody like sold about $500,000 of UFO in the last 2 days. Our chart went down 5%. It didn't even ding it. And that brought over about $800,000 of volume extra. Thank you. Appreciate it. See you later.
And that's because the bots start arbing back and forth between each other, correct? As
So
soon
like
as you got to drop, well, yeah, as soon as you got to drop like that, someone pulls out, right? 500,000. Okay.
Here,
Then
let me bring here. I'll try to bring it up. Give me a second. I think I can find it.
Because usually, because the idea that's really difficult for people to really grasp is if there is, say, just a router path that only goes one direction, right, through other liquidity pairs, then it's only the bigger pairs that are ever going to get used.
And actually, this was a $200,000 sell.
$200,000. So it's kind of like the idea is like, how does the web help prevent the bottom from falling out? Because that's a big sale, by the way. That's a big sale.
Okay, so it's actually more. So if we look at it, so this was at 10, 11, 15. So here's another sell of this guy. Same guy.
Right, you got your screen share.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay, cool.
Sorry. Yeah. So you see this? Do you see my screen now? You see my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So this is like the same cell right here. So, and then you see how it says 1500 right here.
Yeah.
And 1500 right here. So that's the buy and burn of UFO of that transaction.
Wow, really? I didn't know bots went up that high.
So that's his buy and burn. So that transaction bought and burn about $3,000, a little bit more. But let's see. So they're 1015, 1025, 1025. See how there's all these transactions? 3, 1, 5, 3, 5, 2. So if we look at some of these, so I know this is a bot because I've looked at that wallet. That's a bot. 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 So it's just fixing the pairs. And then once you go into the other liquidity pools, so PDI has $7 million of liquidity with PDI right now. But during that same time, so you see this is the same guy.
Oh.
So some of the transaction went through the PDI. So, and then right after sell, because they're probably fixing the price of what was going on in the other pools. So they came in and fixed all these pools. So that's a bot, that's a bot, that's a bot, that's a bot. You know how the other side bought? This is the other side selling. And once they had their UFO. So they're coming out of the PDI pool. Does that make sense?
Oh, this is okay. So this is wild. Now, this is the way that this works then. This makes a lot more sense to me for someone who's going to say, yeah, when you go to make a swap, you're going to have just a couple of paths of the actual swap, right? That is going to be from the person. However, this is where all of the other pools come from. This is where the liquidity web comes from, okay? It's where you get bots that purposely buy in the smaller pools and basically just kind of equalize things out. And so the way that you may want to think about it is if you have something really heavy that's falling, a parachute comes out, right? Now, I don't know if anybody else has seen these, but in like the military, when you have something like super heavy with like weapons, ammo, or like even say like a tank, right? Parachutes out of a freaking giant helicopter. What happens is you get this one parachute that comes out, but then you have several smaller parachutes that fly out as well. And that's meant to help assist the large parachute in the center. So the large one, you could say, is the person basically just clicking sell and going through the biggest pools, but then all these smaller pools basically pitch in to help help stop the free fall, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, basically, because the ARBs they're just like alive into the ecosystem. It doesn't really matter. They're always going to be there on Pulsechain. They're just trying to get the best value. So here's like another example of another pool. So this is the P hex pool. So same time, same example. So fool me once, shame on you. A fool man can get fooled again. So this is the third time so this is the things that like people really don't understand and take into account of like why these charts actually look like hockey sticks. Like imagine the risk of a magic carpet ride. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you take into account of the risk of a rug pull, but what about a magic carpet ride? Because in terms of the founder of pTGC and myself is like I like to say that I'm one of the revolutionaries or like people that actually took into account of every single thing that Richard Hart was preaching about in liquidity pools and every single nook and cranny about PHEX and staking and betterment of yourself and your financial situation and stop playing video games. Like literally because of Richard Hart, I don't play video games anymore. So, so thank you, Richard Hart, for that. Gave away my favorite pastime, but it's like ultimately it was like for a purpose. It was for a better like because if that wasn't the case and I was still playing video games, I wouldn't be digging deep like into everything when it comes to cryptocurrency. So it's like, and yeah, it's crazy to think about, man. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, man. So okay, so if the arbitrage bots are basically using other coins and other liquidity pools, like smaller pools, to help lessen that dip overall, wouldn't that mean though it's the same sort of thing as if you want to try and smack that price up really high, somebody puts in a huge amount, like you get a $200,000 buy, instead of going way up like this, it actually kind of mutes the green candle a bit. That has the same effect, correct?
Yeah, because this is the ultimate thing. It's going to move up and down with the market. That's the beautiful antidote with that. And the speculation factor will come into play and understanding of the ultimate thing that's going on surrounding it, as I just showed, and just listening to like just Hart's law is a fact. Hart's law is a thing. People in Pulsechain better like it one way or another. Like what other charts like do I or like what other charts do I have to show you that like Richard like Hart's law is a fact? Like
yeah. So in Richard Hart's law, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to go from memory here. Richard Hart law is that if you buy into one side of the LP, or the Uniswap version 2, right, then the other side automatically goes up, and it's always for a doubling of liquidity is a quadrupling in price. And so you can, whatever you're bonded to will also be brought up with that. That is Hart's law, correct?
Yeah. So with that same measure in mind, it's like if somebody swaps their pulse for hex, for instance, they're both going to go up because of that liquidity pool is going up. It's going to push up pulse, maybe not the same kind of measure, but that liquidity pool moves up, and that floor level moves up of Pulsechain. So that's like the same thing when it comes to Ethereum. Everything that's built on Ethereum that has like large liquidity pools, and it's just another leg that just builds itself up. And if this thing does better, like the other thing will do better as well, unless the speculation factor gets diminished. But
Yeah.
that's the thing, like in terms of like everybody talking about, oh, which RH token's going to outperform the others. I think that's what it, like when I hear that, that's what I. It's like, no, the relationship is going to be the same in some kind of way, shape, or form, because the ratios are going to be traded in some kind of way, shape, or form. And they're going to be moving up together because the R bots are going to be trying to make the best price in one time, shape, or form. As long as Pulsechain is alive, that's what it ultimately is going to do. So if Pulsechain does 100x, PulseX does 100x, pHex does 100x.
Yeah, that's one of the things I know. I've got a few people who are just like, oh, Hex is going to do way better than Pulse, and it's like, all right, maybe that's true as far as more X's go, but I think the reasoning for that is just the size of it in general, as far as the liquidity goes. If you've got 40 million of in liquidity on, say, Pulse, right, versus 18 million on Hex, obviously, if you put 40 million into both of those, it's going to go up differently, right? Technically, the more X's are be on Hex. However, because of Hart's law, that ratio is going to be a lot stickier than you would think. It's not two separate coins that are just going up. Basically, they're both going up. And so it's not going to be something like, oh, Hex, does like 100x or whatever, and Pulse only does like maybe a 20x. It's not like that. It's actually because they're bonded together. It would be more like Hex would do like an 80x at that point, and then like say Pulse does a 40 or 50x,
Well, like honestly, you just have to take the relationship and the ratios between Pulse and Hex, and then you can put your guesstimate of where the potential it might go. It could go higher, but it's going to always have some kind of measurement of a magnet or a trend level that it must go to until the trend of the overall market is like if it's moving sideways, the market's moving sideways, maybe that trend level is reducing a little bit, but maybe once people understand the staking mechanism of pHex, there maybe like the deflationary factor of Hex might change in the mindsets of others for the short term or 6-month term or maybe year term than Pulsechain. But the more people that start building on Pulsechain is going to be the more in and out flow of different protocols being developed and built that is just going to build these liquidity pools of Pulsechain, which helps not enrich Pulsechain, but rises Pulsechain in the measurement of like the whole ecosystem. Yes. So Pulsechain is going to be like last because everybody's going to be chasing PulseX, everybody's going to be chasing pHex, everybody's going to be chasing eHex, Inc., and then all the other altcoins. And then Pulsechain is just going to be kind of dished out besides like the bigger players, the validators. And it's cool.
So interesting question then. So that would mean that there is technically a rotational play you could do, because just as you said, everyone's going to be chasing Pulse X, Hex, right? And basically kind of just forget about Pulse because it's not going to pump as much, right? As many X's. And so maybe, excuse me, maybe if what you get then is everyone's throwing their money into Hex, and Hex is, pumping to the sky. Now some people are like, yeah, look how cheap Pulse is now. And so then they start rotating into that. What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, it's going to happen one way or another.
Fair enough.
If once people start looking at the charts, they're just going to be like, I think it's time to take profits. I hope so. I hope.
Oh man, how did you do such a perfect impression of me? That's exactly it. All right, so how does the auto compounding of liquidity pools impact the scalability of the project as trading volume increases?
They're going to be there forever, so the floor price just rises little by little. $50 a day keeps the heartbeat away, or keeps the heartbeat going. I mean, so.
Well, I mean, fair enough. Hey, real quick, I want to shout out the guys that are currently in the comment section watching us live over here, enjoying some liquidity talks. So, yes, first up we have Fast Abdul. He is here for the tech, and you know what? So am I, man. And then we got West, who's he's here for the money. Wait, West, you know what? I can't blame you because I am as well. But I prefer the tech, right? We prefer the tech. That's yeah. Anyways. So, and then we got Chris Crypto AI Corner. What's up, everyone? It's always a great day. I would agree. It's always a great day until it's cold out. It was negative degrees out here, so that kind of sucked a little bit because I work outside. But it is what it is. And then we got Nate the Great. It's great to see you, bro. What is up? And then we have Snowflake Society. Good evening. Let's fucking go. Moon time. And you know what? Based on that chart that you showed me, Coach X, that's a little bit of a moon, just a tiny bit.
It's not done yet. It's not done.
Oh no, I don't even think it's close to done, man. Like it's gonna skyrocket. Which, by the way, if you're not in it, like you need to get something in there. Like get something, right? All right. Well, let's head back over to the staking and time locks, right? So, how does the penalty distribution, which is 30% among other lockers, create a healthy ecosystem versus potentially just encouraging speculative locking?
So 30% goes to the lockers. So whoever else is locked gets your tokens. So that's like it's kind of like the emergency unlock staking. It's like that penalty Richard Hart gave people, and the founder kind of wanted to incorporate some kind of thing to enrich the patient, delaying gratification. So that's what the locking does.
Okay, and then I lost my question here. And then how do these mechanics balance the flexibility with incentivizing the loyalty?
The rewards are nice. There's always volume. Whenever there's an action, there's a reaction. When you're staked, you don't have to do anything. It doesn't go to a smart. It doesn't go to a smart contract. It stays in your wallet. What a concept! You get staking rewards. You get holding reward. That's fine.
Man. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and let's move over to UFO. Now, UFO kind of confused me at first because I was like, wait, why are you doing this? Right? So, could you explain the role of any amplifier tokens like UFO in driving bot activity and increasing the liquidity?
Yeah, so I kind of gave you that example of UFO buying and burning about $20,000 worth of pTGC in the last 7 days in one pool. This is just one pool, for example. So in the tokenomics of UFO, there's 6%. 3% of the tax goes rewarding people that are providing liquidity with RH tickers and PDI. So the liquidity pools, you go through our DApp, and then you don't get hit with the tax going through our DApp, and then it goes straight into the V2 liquidity pool or V2 liquidity pools on Pulsechain. So, so 3% comes in as Pulse, as rewards that you can do whatever you want. Passive income of Pulse. Look at that. I like Pulse, you know. Pulse dropping in my wallet. I just have to go claim. What a beautiful thing.
A little bit of Pulse is not free.
Yeah. And then 1% goes to buying and burning UFO. 1% goes to buying and rewarding UFO to holders. And then 1% goes to buying and burning pTGC. So there's 1% of the volume of UFO is buying and burning pTGC. 1% of the volume of UFO is buying and burning UFO. And then for the holders, 1% is buying and rewarding the holders. So it's kind of how has the play of pTGC, but also has the play of UFO. If you don't want to provide liquidity, you just hold, and you get passive income right there. And if you think about that, so and one liquidity pool provided $20,000 of rewards to holders in 7 days. It's actually a lot more than that, but that's just from one liquidity pool. So these things are giants. These things are massive. Like, if there is another person that wanted to try to do anything like this, they would have to come in with about $30 to $40 million. So try. Good luck.
Well, one of the things that I'm curious about then is, so that's how UFO helps pTGC, is basically by buying it then, right? Being another token that buys and burns it, and helps incentivize the bots. So one of the things that I'd be a little bit skeptical of is, what about taking money and taking liquidity away from pTGC then to go chase these amplifier tokens instead? You know what I mean?
pTGC and UFO are not, or UFO is not really an amplifier of pTGC. UFO is another token. Like, this is the thing we wanted to take over the whole market. So UFO is the farming tool for our ecosystem from the aliens. You see all these spaceships? Like, we're trying to abduct everybody. That's the game plan right now.
How you farm the gold.
But the chart and how much we have in liquidity pools speak for itself. Like, literally, it's like, with UFO, there's about $24 million of liquidity in UFO. In pTGC, there's about $15 million of liquidity, 95% burnt or protocol owned. Like, ETH bros, where you at?
I know, right? That's basically what we need to be yelling at these guys about. And like, here's the thing that I've noticed: Pulsechain is just so much better than Ethereum on like every single level. And even though there's like the original best, what you may call, protocols that were built out originally on Ethereum, you know, like MakerDAO, Curve, Finance, and those ones, right? And we do technically need to have projects like that out here. I do think that Pulsechain is just ultimately better. And I swear we have a lot more builders out here than they do over there.
Well, at least builders that want to provide hockey sticks.
You might have a point there. All right, so the ecosystem emphasizes bridging with other Richard Hart coins. How critical is this strategy for liquidity and adoption? And could over-reliance on these connections pose a risk at all?
So the only negative risk that I would incorporate with like large liquidity pools, like for the long period of time, especially dead pools or whatever, is the relationship in terms of the market that we already talked about. Like, if Pulsechain moves down 80% and we have $10 million of liquidity with Pulsechain, we're probably going to move down with Pulsechain. Same thing. We have so much Pulsechain liquidity with pTGC, and Pulsechain moves down 60%, we're going to probably move down 60% just because of the relationship of. But if we was to say that pDI pegs to $1, we're still speculating on that. pDI goes to $1 and pDI stays at $1. That correlation is not going to move down the market. So that's a positive sentiment when it comes to that. So the relationship to the overall market, the ARBs, that's going to through the pDI liquidity pool is going to be ramped up because the overall markets with Pulse and Pulsechain and everything is moving down. So it's just like going to be like a hub of all those R bots, and I think we have $1 million of pDI liquidity, and with pTGC, and I think that is about, I think it's like 45 million right now in that liquidity pool, and if that goes to $1, just let's put the math together. That's going to be a liquidity pool of $40 million to $80 million of liquidity. And what's going to be going in and out. And of course, it's going to go down if pTGC moves down. It might move down to 50 million, but it's still going to be a net hub. So the same kind of predicament with UFO. If pDI goes to $1, we have over 100,000 pDI or 100 million pDI in this liquidity pool. I think it's like 150, 160. So the people in that ideal state of mind of pDI going to $1, who else was in the beginnings of like pDI going to $1? Me. And my really
one
good
of the
friends.
first ones to say anything about pDI going to $1.
I was like, I was buying pDI in July of last year. And talking about Atropa since July of last year.
Crazy. I think it's crazy that you're freaking earlier than me, man. There's not a lot of people I see who are earlier than me to pDI. But dude, you beat me by months.
But if UFO goes to it, or pDI goes to $1, and UFO has 160 million pDI, and I know not 100% of that it's going to be staying in there. Maybe people are going to pull out because it is a community farm. But there's some of the bigger players, the big dogs that want this to just pay them passive income for the rest of their life. And in the term of that magic carpet ride and understanding Hart's law, and especially if pDI goes to $1 after that, there's over 160. So how big is that liquidity pool? $200 to $300 million in a stable coin. In a stable, if pDI pegs and stays, I'm putting all that context out there. But it's just like, it's going to be silly.
No, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Let's go ahead and let's move over into the DAO. So you got a DAO governance structure with pTGC. All right. So how does the governance models ensure fair representation for smaller holders?
With the DAO?
Yes, with the DAO.
Well, with the top 100 holders can create a proposal, but literally every single proposal has been going to add liquidity or to buy and burns. And for like the smaller holders that are under 100, they have the capabilities of voting yes or no to that proposal. So
it is kind of a whales game, a lot like how Maker was originally on Ethereum. It's kind of like, well, as long as you buy a lot, then you'll have more voting power versus the smaller guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's anything in life.
Yeah, very standard basically. So it's a very standard governance system with okay. So yeah, given the significant amount or influence of the top 100 stakers, then what safeguards exist to prevent misuse of the DAO treasury funds? And how is accountability enforced in the decentralized structure?
Then the honey badger comes out and starts biting everybody.
Oh, okay.
Those things don't happen.
I was gonna say, do you want to elaborate on what that means there?
No. Honestly, it really hasn't even happened. So, because like the cool thing is, it's just like if all the DAO like proposals are made, and you can look into the person's wallet, and then you can actually look and see if they're like a good actor or a bad actor of pTGC or something, that they have good things. But yeah, no, that hasn't been a problem. And then in regards to, let's just say that a big player wanted 100 million Pulse or something, hypothetically. It has to, because that 100 million is the most that you can take out. The 5% tax, so they would have to have 5 different wallets to do 5 different votes, and then also outvote us if you're a bad actor. And I know I can look at different wallets. I'm a detective. I find everything. But let's just say they wanted to go from wallet to wallet and vote. That 5% tax, they would go from $20,000. They would move it to another wallet. You get hit with the 5% tax. So now that is worth, I don't know, $700. And then you try to send that to another wallet to vote again. That's another $700 that you lost. And then you try to vote again. So it's just like, at the end of the day, it's not worth it.
Yeah, what's funny about that actually is an actor like that would technically help the Grace currency, because at that point it's just causing buying burns.
Oh yeah, of course. Not like it's not going to be a substantial amount, but and then at the end of the day, they would just be voted out. Goodbye.
That'd be hilarious. I did all this work and you're just voting me out. What's wrong with you? Oh man.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So the contracts have been renounced and the system is fully autonomous. What are the advantages and potential drawbacks of a completely immutable structure?
We'll see what the open market does.
It's all about the open market on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do know that Hex is a finished product. It's immutable. However, for some things, I think my answer to something like this, a question like this, is going to be actually you just build on top of it. Because if you look at, say, what a problem with Hex, let's go ahead and call it a problem. Now, I don't mean to offend you Hexicans out there, but let's just say that there's been some struggles because of the locking mechanism, right? You stake it up, you lock it up, and then something bad happens in your life and you need the money now. What do you have to do? You have to unstake it, and that really, really, really badly hurts you for your loyalty just because life happens, you know? And so then something like Actuator comes along, right? And Actuator helps to be able to get that money out, get the cost of those tokens out, so that way you can pay off expenses because life happens, right? But then you can pay it back and be like, okay, I'm all good now. It's something like that. So I kind of find, at least what I think, when it comes to like the staking mechanisms and just the immutable code, if anything does happen to go wrong, is you simply build on top of it.
Well, with pTGC, you can withdraw at any time. And there's no, unless you're locked, then if you emergency unlock, but you have the option to not even lock it up. You can withdraw it whenever you want.
So you get more rewards though for locking it. I do know that. So some of us are like, we want the most rewards.
True. But that's the thing. Maybe you don't lock your whole bag up. Maybe you have your emergency. It's like I have my emergency 5-day or 3 months worth of rent. Everybody says you better have that in the bank account. So no, you just have to have it. Just have it in crypto. That's what I would say.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, yeah. See, that was actually kind of my next question too. Is like for any unforeseen market conditions, how would that affect the smart contract? You know, but I think we kind of discussed that pretty well. I
It's
would say.
gonna it's just gonna buy and burn it. It's gonna add liquidity. It's gonna put more money to the Dow. What more do you want?
All right, so pTGC's narrative positions itself as a solution to inflammatory fiat systems. Do you believe that this model could at least realistically replace or coexist with any traditional currencies?
I plead the fifth.
the one of the one, so I would the reason for this question here is because I'm always interested in because people want crypto to replace the fiat system, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm always interested in everyone's answer to this question because there's a lot when you think about it when it comes to like Bitcoin, people are like, yes, replace it, fix the money, fix the world. Whereas, something like PTGC, it's like, what's the purpose of that then? And what I kind of find on Pulsechain is it's not necessarily like this one thing is going to replace all of the fiat systems. It's more like you're buying into lots of other things. It's, some of them are just communities, right? Like meme coins. Other things are utilities, like Project Pi. It's all to help the ecosystem itself. And so the idea at this point that I would be thinking about is it's not necessarily replacing the traditional financial systems as much as it's creating our own system that we can be economically free in.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just once people understand the relationship of crypto is the same kind of relationship of their or money in the bank is when they start like understanding what money or crypto or real estate or anything in life really is. It's just a bunch of energy moving from one place to another. So once people actually understand those mechanisms which come into play, and if people have been out there like watching some of my streams, like I preach about this kind of stuff on a daily, not daily, maybe like every once in a while, but once you understand those things, when it comes to everyday life, then you understand the different kind of relationships with your friends, this different kind of relationship with your spouse, the different kind of relationship with your kids, if you have any kids out there. And once you have that relationship with your crypto where your portfolio only goes up so much, but that liquidity effort, like your portfolio in yourself is a liquidity pool, and your portfolio is only going to go up if you put the right things in the right places. But at the same time, if you take yourself into a position where you're dedicating more energy, more focus, looking at the charts, looking at new possible Degen tokens, or looking at different like kind of farms and stuff, that's where that's where your portfolio starts rising up, and you start rising up yourself because of the hard work and the financial freedom that everybody wants to partake in.
That's an incredible insight that you just said right there. That let's go ahead and break that down. Let's drill into that a little bit. Think about it this way. So if you have one side of the liquidity pool, which ultimately is you as a person, as a human being, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
work hard and continually try to ascend, there's a sentiment right there. If you're always trying to ascend, ultimately your money is going to go with you because you're always either getting better jobs, getting more competent at your job, which then, increases the pay. You start maybe creating a business of your own, which then has an exponential ability to start giving you more money. You start learning of new things, new ways of investing, like real estate, crypto, stuff like that, right? And the next thing you know, perhaps your money starts, actually going because maybe it's leverage on you, right? Kind of
Mm-hmm.
how ICOS is leverage on Hex. Well, maybe it's the same sort of thing. So it starts going past like this. And at that point, it starts helping drag you up, because not only are you able to, once you hit a certain point, you don't have to go work like a job anymore. Now you can use that time to then start making new things, start making other things, doing other stuff, right? And that just ultimately increases yourself again. And it's kind of like a hyperloop of you just constantly going up and increasing in value, so to say.
It's kind of like the relationship with Pulse and pTGC's ratio. You know, it's kind of that kind of chart right now.
That's a crazy chart, by the way. I love it. All right, so pTGC claims to be fully community driven. In your opinion, what are the essential traits that distinguish a truly decentralized and community driven project from one that's just merely claiming it?
You can look at the Telegram with the relationship with community. Like if you see a Telegram with more people asking questions and having conversations and chit chatting with one another, and less like admins doing that, it's one heck of a community. That's what I would say. And also like some community members stepping up and taking matters into their own hands and providing like different streaming service, or starting streaming about pTGC, or doing videos like Crypto Kindness.
Good guy, by the way. Shout out.
Yeah, Ian and B Roots, of course, been talking about us since 600K market cap. Who else? Crypto Graphics, I think that's his name.
Yeah, Graphics.
He has a pretty good video. It's just many others out there, but it's just a consistency of just people coming to our spaces Monday and Saturday mornings, which is always good. I'm always getting a pretty good turnout when it comes to my morning streams at 6:30 in the morning. Conversation never got boring. 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. So guys.
Yep, you're usually on when I'm getting to my first stop. It's always like, oh, CoachX is on now. Like, oh, all right, here we go.
Darn. Yeah. Like, oh, what alpha am I gonna miss today?
Yeah, right. No, most of the time, like I'm trying to plug in because I'm out there doing my thing. I'm trying to plug in. I'm like, okay, no, customer, leave me alone.
Yeah. But also, it's just like if you have a founder that is always reliable, and like, especially with me and him, we're on a phone on a daily basis. Just, what's up? Just calling you. I don't know what I'm. Nice all-time high again.
Again.
So, but other than that, like other community members like Mando and Shaka, there's a bunch of guys out there that been here from day one. They actually understand what's built, what is going on, and what the future holds for basically Pulsechain, PulseX, T-Hex, E-Hex. My favorite guy is EX. I like EX. EX is my friend. I feel like everybody stole their EX for me. And it was me and Maria. Me and James were eating up all your EX.
Dude, yeah, actually that was very interesting, because when Richard Hart did what he did with SEC and all that, and it just dropped down, I remember people being like, who's buying EHEX right now? And it was just, going up and up and up and up. And, see, I liked it. I bought more because at this point I was able to call it meme hex. And so,
hex.
Meme hex. Yeah. With a big E, right?
Yeah, if you see a big red candle at the top, you know who it is. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh boy, they're gonna get the pitchforks out.
I'm gonna call the top on the day. I'll top the day. It's good. No, I got a majority of it's taken. I'm playing. Maybe I'm
actually. So I do got a question then about the community. Do people actually really know what's going on when it comes to either UFO or pTGC?
I think a lot of people know.
Kind of like, oh, I'll just buy it because it's hyped up.
Well, there's 9,000 holders There's about 22,000 holders of teddy bear. But oh boy, everybody knows about pTGC in UFO. They have to.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, it's always going on Dex tools. It's always on Dex screener. It's just
It really is.
going.
It's always top 10, that's for sure. Either UFO or pTGC, usually both. But do people really understand kind of the mechanics behind it, or is this kind of like magical woo-woo to them?
Well, to the people that are silly when it comes to crypto, even though that Richard Hart taught them everything. They don't want to spend the time, and they're just coped out. There's no other, like, they're just like, well, I can't buy it now. It's already run up. I don't understand Hart's law.
Yeah, right. You do get people like that, especially like you do get people sometimes where it's like you explain the concept to them, you explain exactly how it works, and they'll come back to you literally the next day and be like, so how does that work again? Which, I can understand some people, though. It would be, there's a lot of complicated things about crypto. I'm not gonna lie.
They just need to watch my morning streams, and they'll understand everything.
Watch the morning streams, watch my channel, like and subscribe, press the bell button so that way you never miss an episode, because you're gonna need it. Subscribe to CoachX over here because you're gonna need his teachings as well. Absolutely. All right, so I know we kind of already talked about this a little bit when it came to like the webs and all that, but let's go ahead. Let's drill down a little bit more into this. So cryptocurrencies often face extreme volatility. So how does pTGC plan to balance its deflationary nature with maintaining a stable user base and liquidity?
Volatility is our friend, because the more the volatile the ecosystem, the more buyer burns, the more it LP adds, the more the rewards, and the people that are holding and staking get the benefit of those said rewards. And the stakers and lockers are holding up the price. What a concept. Just like Hex.
Beautiful, man, beautiful. I do find it kind of interesting. It's like no matter what it is, when we're going through how pTGC works, UFO and all that, it's really interesting how no matter what it is that you're doing to interact with it, it's helping the actual like coin itself go up. The project itself is going up. I find, like, would you agree with that there literally is nothing that you can really do to actually like harm pTGC?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not going to say anything. I can't say there's nothing. If the world ended, yeah, I guess pTGC is
the internet turns off, right?
Yeah. I don't know. The worst thing, everybody sold at once, but at some point in time, there's burnt liquidities is going to go to a floor. Then whoever wants that liquidity, that in that DAO, anybody can create a new front end for that DAO and start utilizing all that pTGC. And now you just like burnt 25% of the price, and you scoop up that whole thing, and that is your money printer for the rest of your life. There you go. Why would anybody sell?
I mean, fair enough, right? I mean, I you know me, Coach. I'm one of those money printer guys. I'm always out there looking for one. So
no, I don't think it's not coming down anytime.
Yeah, I don't think
Pulse and pulse legs.
Well, see, yeah, and the reason for that question is because the interesting thing that when in thinking about how it works, all the mechanisms involved, even when someone like in the earlier example sells down $200,000 worth, right? I mean, that's a pretty big sell, especially from the time when it was sold. Like usually that's a huge red candle, right? However, the Gray's currency has this just special ability to be able to just not fall as far, and it's like it's got that parachute. And the parachute has to do with those liquidity, the liquidity bonded pools that we were talking about earlier in the show here. It's kind of like how I was saying with the I almost said umbrella, silly me, the parachute, where the tank is going down, it's too heavy, but then there's a bunch of smaller parachutes that pop out, and that's supposed to assist the bigger parachute, which then does its job. Allows the tank to be able to land correctly and stop the free fall. So, yeah, no, the pTGC is definitely a special project, to be sure. It's really, I keep finding it difficult to doubt it, because it's always the lower, it's always a higher low, and that's even without extreme economic energy being put into it. The bots themselves just hold that price really well. And it's always because of the buy and burns and literally being bonded to Atropa and PDI and all that. It's literally just constantly kind of being held up. So I find it interesting. Interesting to be sure.
Me too. I look at it every day. I wake up. This is how I wake up, guys. I wake up and I breathe. And then I drink my coffee. I feel every day.
Are you a morning guy? Because I swear you're a morning guy.
Oh yeah, I'm up at 5, guys.
Oh man,
I go to bed at 2. Wake up at 5. I'm ready to go. Throw me some just hunker down. Let's get to work. We sleep when we're dead.
I agree with you.
But I did go to bed last night at like 7 because I didn't feel good. So maybe I overslept last night, so that's why you get the Trump impersonations.
Yeah, that's a sin, man. That's a sin. How dare you? You are fired. You're fired.
Well, I wasn't fired because last night. Never mind. We're not talking about that. But
Alrighty. So, are there any strategies in place to attract non-crypto savvy users or institutional investors to this ecosystem?
There's been conversations.
Any examples for anything that you're able to talk about?
No.
Oh, that's all in the hush hush.
Yeah,
you gonna plead the fifth again?
Yeah.
Oh man. Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and go to. The project was initially audited by Solid Proof, with no further updates allowed to the contracts. How does pTGC address emerging security threats or any potential vulnerabilities?
It's renounced.
It was just completely
changed.
Yeah. Yep. And so if something did pop up, though, if like a vulnerability did pop up, basically you would have to kind of like start over. Isn't that kind of like what Ethereum did originally, where it's like they just forked it to a different Ethereum?
Maybe, but it's renounced. It can't be like this is like back tested a lot on Pulse, like testnet, and then also it hasn't been changed. It's not going to change.
Yeah. Yep. And so if there was an issue that did pop up that was unforeseen, and like the auditors themselves didn't see it, and something happened.
Yeah, but then we'll just do V2 launch, fix the issue if there was an issue, but I don't see that happening.
Do you think that means that there could potentially in the future be a pTGC Classic?
Probably not. Probably not.
So you don't have any contingency plans or anything, just in case a flaw was discovered. It's just fork it over, basically.
I have those plans, but I won't share it publicly.
Gotcha. All righty. So one of the main things about especially this ecosystem is that there's many projects that promise high APY, deflationary mechanics, as well as community driven governance. So what what specifically sets pTGC apart from any competitors in the space, and how do you plan to stay ahead?
Our DAO is getting about 1 billion Pulsechain a week now, going to more LP ads and to the ecosystem, and then also buying burning our token. So try to beat that with over $14 million of liquidity tied with it. That is burnt. If you're willing to burn about $14 million of liquidity, by all means, maybe some of those SAC wallets from other projects maybe should do something with those their millions of dollars that they got. But yeah, that's what I would say to that comment.
Yeah, one of the interesting things, and yeah, here's what I've found, okay, is pTGC does a kind of like a everything. Usually when you have a project, it's like, oh, there's a special buy and burn, right? And it's like maybe you have some reflections to that. And then another project has, this has a governance DAO on it, and there's also like a buy and burn with it, right? It's just there's always like a couple of these checked off, whereas in your case, you made them with basically, let's just throw everything in there.
Yeah.
So would you agree that that's kind of more or less your strength and how you're going to beat out any competitor?
Try to outwork me. There's
Right
your
there.
answer. Try to outwork the founder. Try to outwork our community. There you go. Like out of all the builders here on Pulsechain, I probably worked out everybody. Except like Maria James. I'm not a fucking NASA fucking developer. But out of everybody else, I don't feel like anybody did exactly what was needed to get to the top of the food chain. And pTGC and UFO is at the top of the food chain. So
it is definitely, as I said in my own description, this is one of the top projects in all of Pulsechain. And when I say one of, I'm leaving a little bit of leeway for maybe somebody to prove me wrong. But yeah. And I would agree with you, Coach, when it comes to, like, I mean, you said it yourself that the founder is a part of the strength of this project, right?
Mhm.
And I think that you're trying to amplify that as much as possible. And
oh yeah, TJ Zen is freaking amazing. Answering call or people's comments in the Telegram. Like I don't see any other founder like 24/7 in the last year doing that. I've I'm not really always on the Telegram, and he's always there. You know what I mean? And it just shows what it really takes, to outperform everybody.
it shows how much you believe in the project. That's for
Oh yeah.
certain. And I know you stream you stream just about every single day. Am I correct about that?
I used to stream every day from January to about August. I streamed every single day, Monday through Friday at 6:30 in the morning. Now I just stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I was like, all right, I need a couple days off.
I feel you.
So yeah, it's Monday, Wednesday, Fridays now, but also just doing a lot of work in the back end, building out some stuff, and the people know out there what I've been building and what I am building and what I am about to build. That is not another token or anything, but it's cool.
Do you have any sneak peeks that you'd be able to say about what it is you're building out?
I sent out a tweet today, and the tweet kind of represents what it could potentially be. So until everything's finalized, there is the tweet.
There's a tweet. What does the tweet say?
The tweet says, when should we lock it in, X?
When should we lock it in? And X is that other protocol that you launched.
Yeah, built on top of pTGC.
Built on top.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just got hit up with the message because I think she just made dinner. So she's like,
All
"Are you done?" So
right. Well,
I think I got a couple more minutes.
couple more minutes. Okay. Good. I got a couple of questions. I think we can close it out on. I think this has been really good, man. The depth of this project is just absolutely insane. So it's one of the reasons why I was really looking forward to getting you on here, because trying to dive deep into this tech is really what it is that I've been trying to accomplish with this show. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on here to the light paper mentions a focus on marketing campaigns. So what innovative strategies are being implemented to reach a broader audience beyond existing crypto enthusiasts?
So in terms of that, it's just like from word to mouth with the community, with friends, family, and those kind of means and measures. Then also as well, that's like the biggest driver in terms of that. But in means of like Google searches or something like that, there's not that much, but we've done countless things in terms of like Twitter, sponsored Twitter posts and stuff like that. All my videos, I did Google, what is it? Google ads and stuff like that to drive up foot traffic there. And that's kind of like PG, or my streams are kind of like streaming like a marketing thing for pTGC in some kind of way, shape, or form. So there's all that coming
So
out
you
of
kind
our, not from the DAO, out of our paychecks.
of so kind of you keep it a little bit local for now, but there's a few just a few spots, kind of like with Google and all that. You're like, hey, by the way, this is a thing. One of the aspects I think you guys should probably lean on a little bit is the aspect of the alien invasion type of thing, right? We're coming to invade crypto. That I think that would be a fun and a fun marketing campaign that I think could work out pretty well, especially when you start getting people. I know that there's a lot of people who are kind of all in on memes, right? That's all they're looking for. I almost think if you name yourselves basically like meme coins, like this is the aliens coin, we're doing the aliens thing. I think a lot of people, alien enthusiasts, would actually come over here just to be a part of that, especially when you start showing people the green candles.
Well, we've already been showing them the green candles. They're going to get abducted eventually. But with that means like we've been having good conversations with some outside the post, like over on Ethereum. I got a couple buddies, but like that's kind of like the narrative. We're a meme with utility. Very, very good look utility. So
And we got a couple of people who just walked in here. Kay Hudson, we still early on UFO, and when are we not early? What are the signs?
oh, what does it say again? Sorry, I was reading something else.
We still early on UFO. When are we not early, and what are the signs?
So does when Pulsechain does a 50x, what do you think UFO is gonna do? I'll leave you at that.
Yeah, it's leverage for sure, and it's gonna shoot up. That's a guarantee. And UFO is right along with that as well.
Oh yeah, pTGC and UFO. It's
Absolutely.
like if PDI goes to $1, what's gonna be the price of pTGC and UFO? If PulseX does a 50x, what is the price of pTGC and UFO? It's like, come on, guys.
Yep, the sign is gonna be, wow, this really went up high. That's gonna be your sign, man.
No.
And then we also got Jay Val here. So can you guys talk about X protocol? So I decided not to do X protocol today. I think that's definitely in the cards for us to talk about, on a different date. Today I wanted to talk about aliens specifically, but X is a little bit different. However, for JVal, do you want to give a real quick sort of elevator pitch of what the protocol kind of is?
It's a development protocol, but It has established liquidity pool. Yesterday we hit another all-time high, about 6.2 million market cap. It's built on top of pTGC and UFO. There's about $1.2 million of liquidity of pTGC and UFO tied among with it. So it's going to go up and down with the relationship there. But yeah, watch my streams in the morning. I can explain more about it there.
Absolutely. All right, let's do one more question and get you off to dinner. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Excellent. Where do you see pTGC in the next 5 to 10 years in terms of adoption, price stability, and ecosystem integration?
It's here. Can you do me a favor? Why am I not allowed to connect?
Oh, you need to send a. If you need to, you can send it over Telegram. By the way,
yeah, I'll send it to private. I just sent it to private.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question? That last one. Where do I see pTGC and UFO going?
Yep. Where do you see it going in the next 5 to 10 years?
How high? How high does it go? How high?
It's gonna be a legend, is what it's gonna be.
Like, honestly, this is like the kind of conversations that me and like TGSN have. It's like, all right, so where are we gonna live to watch over one another? Type of stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Well, one thing I would like to say, because I know Hudson and Val are both asking about the X protocol. I did buy into X protocol. I see X protocol. I haven't done a deep dive into it yet, but my instincts are good enough where I'm looking at this like you want at least a little something in it. So I put a little something in it. Now, is this something that I'm going to be aping into hardcore? I don't know yet. I'm actually going to be doing my own research here pretty soon. However, like I said, my instincts have been basically spot on so far, and with all of these.
Who built it? Coach built it? All right, let me nibble. I don't know anything about it, but I'll learn.
I don't know. Coach hasn't really built any good protocols, though. I mean, geez, right?
I know. pTGC.
Mic drop over there. Oh shit. But yes, so yeah, I do want to say that I have bought a little bit into it. Take that for what you will. This is definitely not financial advice, and obviously everything can go to zero. I'm trying not to have my money go to zero, but I do think at least having a position in X protocol is definitely the way to go. So with that being said, let's go ahead and close her out. I am the Ascending Man, Nate McGettit, and every single day I want you guys to do something that is ascending you a little bit closer to the next level than who you were just a day before. And then, Coach, go ahead and shill yourself, man.
See you later, guys. Well, okay, follow me on CoachX.com. That's kidding. Yeah, just follow my Twitter. Follow me on YouTube. Probably in the morning, so 6:30 in the morning tomorrow. So in about 13 hours, I'll be live streaming. So
heck yeah, everything's in the description, guys. Go ahead, join up on the DRT Telegram, join up on the Aliens Telegram. It's all in there, all the websites and everything. These are the correct links, by the way. You can trust these links. There's nothing wrong with them. I make sure of that. I go through them. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that being said, this has been another Ascending Tech with Nate McGettit, the Ascending Man. Hope you guys have an absolutely amazing one. And don't forget to always ascend.